Greetings, fellow Degorans, and welcome to Monday, the 4th of... Is it the 4th? No, Tuesday. It'll be Tuesday, the 4th of November 2014's episode of The Witcher Weekly. And I am here, as always, with my fellow co-host, George.
Hello, people. How are you?
Yeah, and we've had changes to social media, which we very quickly want to announce before we go into the episode. And we have a Twitter account, which is twitter.com/Dagora_TV, and Facebook with the Facebook page Dagora TV. And yeah, go follow and like and all that good stuff. So yeah, George, should we quickly go into the news?
Can I make an announcement? We do want to introduce. We've got a little bit of a long segment coming in this episode, but there's something that we want to go a bit more in depth. And me and Connor do not know enough about the game. So if you know quite a bit of the lore, would like to ask if you would like to help us out with videos, would credit you, help give you a shout out YouTube channel, and so on. Just
we'll even come on, even if you wanted to come on the show or something like that to just give a bit, that'd be great.
That'd be great. Just email us at dagoratv@gmail.com and we'll get back to you.
Yeah. So yeah, and the news that we've got is, well, there's some physical content on The Witcher Wild Hunt that you get when you buy the standard copy. There's a Chris John Epuenva review of a storytelling demo that he played when he played the game a bit ago, and there's a rumor flying around which we'll discuss. It's a rumor, and then we've got this basic lore segment, and by basic we mean basic. It's just basic for the ones like me and George who were kind of like excited for this game, who don't exactly know about the story behind it. And then we'll go into the questions from our fellow Degorans. So let's get straight into the meat and potatoes of the episode, which is the physical...
I've never heard anything more British than meat and potatoes of the episode.
I actually got it from Elder Scrolls Off the Record, because every time they go into the storytelling, they go, the meat and potatoes of the episode, and then they start talking about gravy and stuff. But yeah. Anyway, the meat and potatoes of the episode. The physical content that is coming with The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt Standard Edition. Do you want to hear, George, about the stuff that's coming out?
Standard Edition. So this is what you get.
This is the Standard Edition.
Is this is this for pre-orders only, or actual for when you buy any game?
It said what it said on the 3 websites, which include Joystick, JPG 24/7, and Gamescom. It just said Standard Edition.
So that means that you pre-order it, you just pre-order the game and it might be standard, or it could be whenever you buy the game, no matter what time it is, no matter if you pre-order it, you can get this. I'd predict it to be more pre-order things, so they don't have to make too many of them of what the things you're about to say. But
yeah. So yeah, we'll go. In what you're gonna get is the game, obviously. You're gonna get a Blu-ray disc, but it's not been confirmed what this Blu-ray disc is gonna have on it. We don't know. There's going to be a CD of the game's soundtrack. There's going to be unique stickers, a detailed map, and the developer-created Witcher Universe, the Compodium, which is probably like a documentary on behind-the-scenes thing that George will be into. And then that's what you're getting, which is fantastic. That's a lot of stuff you're getting in there, more than what you normally get. Definitely.
That is really incredible compared to soundtracks. You have to pay for a tenner and get video games. But behind the scenes videos, that's not really limited off to. If it's behind the scenes, that's not really limited off to people buy collector's edition, and that's a lot more than you'd normally get when you're
and
standard edition.
Yeah, and the collector's edition. In the collector's edition, the only real extra things that you get is the statue of Geralt fighting a griffin, comic books, and the card game called Gwent, which is the real life card game. It will also be in the game as well, and I think this is brilliant. To be honest, I can't complain with any of this. I think it's quite breathtaking, to be honest with you, because every game that I've kind of bought in this past, well, every game I've bought, full stop, it's kind of really been the game, and depending on the game, you get a map. That's kind of what you got. In this, you're getting that, but you're getting the soundtrack with it, which I haven't heard of doing that before without buying the collector's edition or other editions of the game. Kind of the behind the scenes with it as well. I think it's good, and I hope it doesn't really affect the cost of what it was going to be in the first place. I hope it kind of keeps it the same.
it is good as well. I agree with 100% there.
Yeah.
It's more stuff for you to play, and more stuff for you to get.
To use.
To get used, and
more for your
it's
money.
good.
Yeah. Like, which of these features, Josh, these features coming in with the physical edition or the like what we've just mentioned, which one do you think in there is the best, other than the game, obviously?
I think the soundtrack's quite good.
Really?
Now you're paying 10 to 15 quid for them.
Yeah.
And if it is behind the scenes and the Blu-ray, it's good.
I've heard a couple of people. I saw a couple of people on the Reddit saying, because remember when we said the rumours of a TV show with The Witcher? There's been rumours that it could be the series of the Witcher TV show. That's only a rumour though. That's probably not going to be it. It could be maybe one episode, maybe, of the TV show, possibly. But what I think, I'm not sure what it's going to be at all, to be honest. I really don't know. That is just a couple of rumours that I've heard flying around. To me, though, it's always got to be the map. I like maps when it comes down to it. Like, even you're a map fan, George, aren't you?
Maps, but I just find like sorry, I nearly dropped my phone, so I went a little bit shocky there. Like you get maps with any role-playing game.
Oh
so.
yeah, you do, yeah. You do. It's just like, oh yeah, it's good that like you're getting extra stuff in there. But like, I know, I think it's good. Like, I'll probably watch this Witcher Universe: The Compodium. But like, I don't know. I like having a map in there with it, obviously. But obviously the game is obviously the main one. But yeah, stickers really, meh. Who cares? But like, yeah, it's all good. And I'm pretty intrigued to know what's going to be on this Blu-ray disc. And if you've got an Xbox 360 or PS3, then that Blu-ray disc is going to be a bit inefficient.
So we don't actually know if it's that thing we said was behind the scenes video, did we?
It says developer created Witcher Universe: The Compodium, and which sounds a lot like behind the scenes.
As I say, if that's not behind the scenes, I think the Blu-ray will be.
Yeah, but yeah. It's definitely, I'm interested in seeing all the different stuff in there. The game soundtrack, again, more revision music, and just stuff to listen to. And the music's been impressive of what we've heard so far. And
most music with role-playing games are really good. So.
Yeah, and I like how there's not much change between the standard edition and the collector's edition. Like, I suppose if you are paying that extra for collector's edition, then you want extra, but I quite like it that they're getting like a Geralt fighting a Griffin statue, like comic books and the card game Gwent. They're kind of like three things that are kind of really for the diehard fans, and these other kind of segments that you're getting are for like the not so hardcore fans, like the fans of the game like we are, but they're not exactly bothered about having a statue or reading the comic books of the game. I think it's a good step in the right direction.
Definitely.
Yeah. So you're definitely happy with it, George. No complaints.
But how can you have complaints?
I don't know. Some people might go like, "Oh, it's going to improve the cost or something." Do you hope? Would you prefer to just have the game and a map, or all of this at a more like say like a £5 more expensive cost?
£5 more expensive cost any day of a fucking week. The like soundtracks of games are 15-10 quid. The Blu-ray DVD the amount is £10 normally. As for example, stickers are £1 probably. So I'd pay the extra $5 for all that stuff without a doubt. Yeah.
Yeah. So do you think it will kind of affect the price of the standard edition?
I honestly think this is what I said. I think this will be for people only who pre-order the game. That's what I believe, because I reckon it would cost them too much. But I reckon if they said, hey, if you pre-order the game, you don't have to pay more for this pre-order. Yeah. But if you pre-order it, you get all this stuff. It raises the amount of people pre-ordering the game, more like certified sales and everything. Yeah. If you know what I mean, more like first week sale kind of stats for them.
Yeah, so, it's like opening weekend kind of thing.
So that's what I think they'll do. I don't think this will be a permanent thing. I don't think it will be if you go to wherever it is after 4 months after games release, you'll get all the stuff. I just think it's going to be for only to the people who pre-order the game, which I have no complaints about. If it don't make me charge for extra for the game, if they don't make me charge extra for the pre-order or a £5, I'd take the £5.
It's usually a £5 deposit, isn't it?
Depends where you go. Because Asda is free. Well, Asda's Walmart of England.
Yeah.
Owned by the same people, and And yeah, I'd take the fiver. I'd say if it's five on the, oh, sorry about that, fiver added on for this thing, I would say, okay, here's my money, because it's definitely worth it. It's definitely worth the £5 or whatever it is.
Yeah. But a question I've got for you, George, do you think this is, it might sound like a stupid question, but do you think it could be too much in one kind of selling, or do you think it's like, do you think, it's kind of like hard to word, do you think like it is too much for a standard edition to kind of come with all this stuff, or do you think it should just be these extra things like the Blu-ray disc and the DVD should be with the collector's edition, not the standard? Or do you think it's the good thing that we're doing?
It's obviously a good thing we're doing. I just don't see how it can be a bad thing. If it's not at no extra cost, people don't even have to touch if they don't want to. It's just for the people there who want to.
I'm just saying. Do you think these kind of things like the stickers, the Blu-ray disc, and the which universe they're comparing should be just sectioned off to the collector's edition to give like the hardcore players more benefits than just
if the value is still there for the collector's edition, and there's still things which are wanted for the collector's editions, which is mainly for collector's editions, is mainly normally the
three extra things that you get is Geralt fighting a griffin, comic books, and the card game Gwent.
Yeah, and like most people get collector's edition, get it for the statues because we like getting a collection of the statues. For get like loads of games, and imagine for people that have like just a wall full of like the Skyrim one and all that and so on. So that's what people would mainly go for when we get a collector's edition, and I just don't think it can ever be a bad thing. If the value is still there for the collector's edition, it'll still be worth it.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing as well. Like obviously, I can't complain, but I don't know, I think if it was kind of upgrading the cost, I don't think it will, to be honest with you. I think it will be what George says, like a pre-order kind of thing for the kind of like day one kind of buy. I think that's what it will be. I think maybe like if you're going to buy the game a couple of months after it's come out, I don't think you'll get these features. But yeah, like I think it's very much a good method. But if it come down to it where they said like, oh, because of these they're upping the cost, which I don't think they will, I would be a little bit meh. But yeah, I've got no complaints, even though I probably will not be using much of the stuff in there. I'm still happy about it. Happy about the people that will be using and watching the extra stuff. So do you think this will definitely persuade people to buy the physical copy? Because people, whether it be PC or PlayStation 4, they like to buy them off the PlayStation Store or off Steam. Do you think it will persuade people more to go into the game and buy it?
I'm actually confused about that. If they did this for them to buy the hard copies, that's not where they make more money. The company who develop game make more money through Steam and stuff because they get more percentage of game. When they do it through like game, when they do it through the hard copy, they have to percentage of the sale goes to game, percentage of sale goes to them, percentage of sale goes to the the disc company, percentage of the sale goes to the disc case company, and percentage of sale goes to people who make the case and stuff like that. So, and with Steam, it's just Steam gets 10%, the company gets 90% kind of thing. So I don't know. But maybe yes, I think it would consider people to buy the hard copy. That's just the end of the question, really. Like, I would buy the hard copy for them stuff, definitely.
Yeah.
But if they gave you the digital version of some of the stuff, like if you bought the digital version of the game, you got the digital version of the DVD, you got the digital version of the behind the scenes. That would be pretty good.
Yeah,
digital map.
Yeah, there's been no confirmation of that. That's just George's theory. Yeah, like but still, like you can still buy the physical editions online, like you did, George. The Elder Scrolls Online. You bought the physical one from. Did you buy it from Green Man Gaming?
Yes, because my internet is so shit.
Yeah, so I buy physical copies anyway. I prefer doing it that method, and yeah, I think this will definitely persuade people to buy the physical copies because like I've seen like the majority of people seem to buy their games off Steam and whatever because, or well, not really for consoles, the kind of like off the PlayStation Store maybe because it is a bit cheaper than what you would get in the shop. But I don't know. I just prefer having a copy of the game rather than downloading it off the internet for some reason. It's just my personal opinion. So are you definitely going to be buying the physical copy, George, because of these features or because of your internet? Or a bit of both?
A bit of both, but by the time this game comes out, I should have my 40 to 50 megabyte per second internet.
Yeah.
So that shouldn't be an issue. And I will be playing it most likely on the PC, I'm gonna say, because I think I might I need to make my PC worth the 700 quid I spent on it. So I'm going to buy some games for a PC. But yeah, I think I might get a PC. So I'll still get the hard copy. I think just for this and stuff.
Yeah.
But if they announce that you can get the behind the scenes video and all that, like separate or hard like software versions, I'd probably get the digital version.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, it does make me. It doesn't really change my opinion whether I want to buy the physical copy or not, because I'm gonna be honest. The only thing that kind of I don't think I will be watching the Witcher Universe Compendium. I don't think I really will be listening to the soundtrack that often, so it doesn't really jump out at me that kind of big of a deal. The thing that does jump out at me is like what you normally get is the game and the map. So, but it doesn't change my opinion of buying the physical copy. I'm just happy because it's obviously gonna make people like the music fans of the Witcher music and people who like the behind the scenes and stuff like that, it'll make them people happy. So, but it doesn't change my opinion that I was going to buy the physical copy anyway, because I prefer it, and I'd be getting the game on PlayStation 4 anyway, so it just makes more sense if I'm going to be playing the game on a console. And
you still get the digital versions.
You can do, but I don't know, I just prefer I just prefer the physical copy. I don't know why. I think it's because it's something to do with putting card details over the internet. I don't know, it's just that. So, George, one last question that I want to kind of ask. This is just like a quick question about how it. Are you surprised that they put so much of this stuff in the standard edition?
Yeah, I'd say yes, because it's not normally. It's not normal. It's not for normal.
It's not normal behaviour.
It's not normal behaviour of game developer producers or whatever they're called, and I think it's a step in the right direction. But we've always known that CD Projekt Red is more of a triple A Activision kind of EA Ubisoft twat kind of people. They're like just the people who just like making games.
Yeah, they're not. Yeah, they're not like them. They're kind of like for the people kind of guys. Yeah, and that's why I like them. I'm a fan of this. I have to kind of see Ubisoft with the season passes and Monolith with the season passes recently. It's a nice, fresh that you're going to get more for your money rather than less for your money, and I'm happy about this. And yeah, it just grows my opinion of CD Projekt Red more and more by reading this stuff. And yeah, I was very surprised, even surprised to see that. Like, I think the biggest surprise on there is I agree with you, Joyce, in the game soundtrack, the full soundtrack coming with the standard edition of the game. Like, that is like a big thing as well. And plus, with an open world game, that soundtrack's going to be what, 2 hours long? Would you say? It's going to be about 2 hours long. It's going to be a big
game soundtracks are even longer than normal.
Yeah,
like the Skyrim one is
Skyrim was 3 hour 10. Was Skyrim,
and Skyrim, like, let's see, like
Oblivion
3 hour 40. Well, let's go through our role playing game. What's Witcher 2 soundtrack?
Yeah, the Witcher 2 soundtrack was like very kind of like not sentimental, kind of dictated because it was like more of a linear game. This one, it's a bigger game, so there's going to be more music.
120 minute hours. We need I think it'll be like 2 to 3 hours long.
Yeah,
most likely. It's
about 100 hours long, this game, so it's going to be about that. I think, and that's a lot for your money. It's a great deal if it's going to be sticking at the same price. Now, yeah, you can't help but be happy about it. You just can't. So, George, should we go to the next bit of news?
Yes, we shall.
The next part of the meat and potatoes. We've moved on from the meat. We're now moving to the potatoes. Is the storytelling review that John Epinueva played. He played the game for 3 hours at a CD Projekt Red event a couple of months back. And obviously, he said in it he's unable to reveal a lot of the stuff that he played in there at this time, but said more will be coming out recently. So it's definitely worth keeping an eye on him on his blog that he has got on the Halem Multimedia Entertainment website, which has got like a big segment dedicated to gaming in The Witcher. So it's definitely good to keep an eye on him. as he says, he's going to be releasing stuff out. But he said he wanted to touch up on a few things to kind of. He just wanted to release some stuff out there, and he said he's extremely impressed with what he played. And he says what really jumped out at him was the storytelling. He described it as using flashbacks fantastically well, and using the companions in the cutscenes well. As he says, like the conversations kind of seem to flow a lot better than what he's noticed in kind of other RPGs that he's played recently. Which I don't know how. I don't know how at all. He's just kind of saying it, and it's something that we haven't really touched on. Really, I think that the way the story is going to be told, and he says like using flashbacks well, and there was flashbacks in the first two Witches, but they were kind of here and there. Do you like, George, a strong presence of flashbacks in video games, especially in telling the story?
I think flashbacks work really well, but it's got to be done correctly. It's not.
Yeah.
It's got to feel right with the story. You just can't just randomly pop into flashbacks every 10 seconds. It's got to do it when it really relates, and like tell it when you're referencing something from the past. That's where flashbacks can go like, oh, that's what happened and stuff like that.
Yeah. Like there's definitely positives and negatives for flashbacks. Like because like you say, if it's not done right, it's a disaster, and if it's done well, it's done. You think like, oh, that's gave us some more info. That really suited him well. It felt good. And like a perfect example I can bring up is with Game of Thrones. Like Game of Thrones, it's a TV show, but when it comes to storytelling, DB Weiss, he said, he was one of the writers of the show. He said that they haven't used flashbacks to the first 4 seasons because it would have been inadequate for the season, for the way it was going, and it wouldn't have boded well with the story. But with this new season and what's happened in this new season, they feel forced to use flashbacks to make it
TV show this?
Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones.
So there's going to be flashbacks in the new one, and yeah, I'm happy they're using flashbacks because I think they've done it right in The Witcher, especially The Witcher 2. I thought they did it really well, especially early on in the game. Like you're kind of playing through a flashback really in the first 3 to 4 hours of the game, and I think it's good to kind of give you, especially near the beginning, to kind of give you this build up. Like we even saw flashbacks in the opening cinematic. We saw it there when Geralt is kind of investigating that battlefield, and it's flashback to the battle. You're seeing flashbacks already, and I'm happy they're implementing them. And I hope they don't overuse them, because if you're using them like every quest like a flashback, you'll think it's getting a bit tedious. But
definitely.
Yeah, and he also said that like with the cutscenes that they have a fresh intake and the way that they're done, but still has the Witcher style that we all know and love. Like George, I know that you are kind of like a person who does like cutscenes. Am I correct?
I'm a cutscene. I reckon if the story is still good, The Last of Us did, like, for me, I know you're against this, but did cutscenes perfectly. Like if you still play the game, you still had to think how to play the game, but from the start you realise this is going to be a movie-based game kind of style, where you're going to have input of the game, but it's mainly the story and how it works mainly. And that's it. I knew that from the start, and that's why I enjoyed it so much.
Yeah.
But the Witcher series, I think it does need to be mainly gameplay orientated.
Yeah. For me, I like cutscenes to come subtly, like subtly, like they do, like they do in Shadow of Mordor. Like they are short, but they give you like quite a bit of story in there, and give you quite a bit of character development. So you know what's going on, but you're quickly back into gameplay. And personally, I think The Witcher 1 and 2 did cutscenes perfectly, in a way that you are kind of taking part in the story and listening to the conversation, so you can give your response. You have an option of a response to give in the cutscene to play the next part. Like you're not just sat there watching for 5 minutes like you do at the beginning of The Last of Us just to walk down some stairs or something. Like I don't like it when cutscenes are long. Like I know one game, Crysis 2, they kind of had this method of 5 minutes of cutscene, then 5 minutes of gameplay, then 5 minutes of cutscenes, then 5 minutes of gameplay. That would be so frustrating to me. Like I couldn't live with that. I want to be back in the game, and the way that they've done cutscenes makes you feel like you're in the game by being able to pick which dialogue options you were going to do, even though there was also story in there, but it kind of got you back into the story, into the game quickly, and that's kind of what I like, and I kind of hope it keeps that style, to be honest with you. And it says that it still kept that Witcher style, but with a fresher intake, which I'm interested to see. I'm interested to see. Yeah, so George, do you kind of appreciate having other methods of storytelling, like or having cutscenes, but also having an array of flashbacks and possibly like companion narrating as well? Do you kind of like that in your game?
It's good. I like for multiple different ways, but I don't want it to be overwhelming with so many different ways of a story being told.
Yeah.
It's got to be just a few different ways of it being told, just not like 2 billion.
Yeah, it's got to kind of like say 2 or 3 really ways of telling it. You can't just have all these different ways to kind of, or else it will just get confusing. You don't know how the story is going to get told. Like and some games are kind of become unique for the way the story is told. Like, and I think that it would be good to kind of use flashbacks and cutscenes, because flashbacks and cutscenes are similar. They're very similar, and I think this, if they go this way, but keep them subtle, not make them like you said, stupidly long that you get bored with them. I think that would be the best way to go. What would you think, George, is the kind of the best way to go with it?
For storytelling.
Yeah, the way to tell the story.
To tell a story of what's going on, I think it would be mainly cutscenes and flashbacks, like explaining what's going on now and then, and with narration between the two characters when you start a quest and so on, just so it, if you know what I mean, so you actually know what's going on.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. So you understand what's going on in the story. Yeah,
with Skyrim style of telling a story where you find out what's going on with the story of the game through the character,
through interaction
with people, and then a mixture of The Last of Us where there's cutscenes as well, where when it's going in more in depth and it wants to show you, and that includes flashbacks and stuff.
Yeah. One final question I kind of want to ask you on a storytelling, George, is like with Fable, it had a narrator, and the narrator was called Teresa. Would you like to have a narrator speaking over you when you're playing the game, or would you just prefer cutscenes?
I think a narrator in the cutscenes will work well, but not when I'm playing the fucking game. No. I think it would just get a bit annoying.
Yeah, like personally, yeah, like you said, I don't think it would work for The Witcher. To me, like it worked in Fable because the kind of the way the story was, but in The Witcher, if it hasn't done that in the first 1 and 2, then I don't see why they would do it in this third. I think they'll keep it similar like they did in Witcher 2, but make it a bit more different. I don't know how they're going to make it a bit more different. He says they made it a bit more different, but it's definitely intriguing to see what they're going to do with it. Definitely. And so should we go on to the rumour?
That's the rumour then, kind of.
Okay, right. This, before we go on, this is a rumour. This is no way in hell confirmed. Definitely not. The only reason I'm putting it in there, because I first saw this on comingsoon.net, and I looked at it with kind of like a scrunched up face, thinking that's not going to happen. And then I saw it on JPG 24/7 and Hell Else, and I was thinking, it's just a bit of a rumour flying around. And then Joystick featured it in an article that they put out a couple of days ago, and they definitely do the best report on this rumour. They say that a first person mode for The Witcher 3 is a possibility and could happen with high demand, but definitely will not be coming with release. If it was going to come, it will come in a later patch. But they say it's not likely, but it's a possibility. Whereas comingsoon.net said it's on the edge of being confirmed, which I think is absurd, to be honest with you. I don't think that's definitely going to... A first-person mode.
First person.
Joystick, if you're going to see it, Joysticks will... I'm going to put Joystick's article in the link, because it's definitely the best report to read, and I've seen a couple of posts on the Reddit of people talking about it, and it sounds like something, if there's a big demand for it, then they'll put it in there after release, which is, I think, in this situation is the best way to go, especially with the way, how far away we are from release. I think that's the best way to do it, if they are going to implement a first person.
Put in the patch.
Yeah, after release.
If they've still got, if Edge of confirming me, they've literally just got all the things there.
That's what comingsoon.net is, which I thought was absurd. I don't think it is on the edge of being confirmed. I think it's what Joystick said, that it's far from being confirmed, but it's possible and could happen with high demand. I don't think it's on the edge of being confirmed, like comingsoon.net say. And plus Joystick are much more of a reliable source. Like a lot of the stuff, news that they report does seem to come to happen. They've called it a possibility, and with that, I'd say it's more 50-50. But in my eyes, I can see it more being not happening than happening. That's how I see it.
Fair enough.
But would you want there to be a first person in the game, Joel? Would you be kind of rallying for this first person to be in The Witcher, or would you be like?
Depends
no,
how the
I'm
game
not fussed.
plays. If a game is designed around third person, it's better to be in third person.
Yeah.
So that's what it's the truth, to be frankly honest. And some games benefit from third person more than first person.
Yeah.
It's just how some games like happen. Like Assassin's Creed would not work in first person. It'd be quite cool to experience in first person.
But it'd make you dizzy, I think,
Yeah.
because of all the running.
It'd be like watching free running videos on YouTube
With like GoPro cam and
GoPro
stuff.
cam.
Yeah.
Yeah. It would be cool to see, but no, it'd be a gimmick kind of thing.
Yeah.
But definitely, I think with game suits third person more.
What makes you think that?
It's just that the last two I've been. I think it's the
That's
game.
driven. Yeah.
It's the game I've got in my mind and everything. So
Yeah. But when playing games, when you've had the choice to go third or first person, what's been your preference?
third person in games or in general.
In games, well, we'll say in games in general. If you had the choice to go, like, what would you prefer, playing in the shoes of your character, first person or third person, where you kind of have this aerial support, where you can kind of see your character? What do you really prefer?
I prefer, to be frankly honest, third. It's
your opinion, yeah.
When I've played games like Skyrim, I've been playing third person. I really do enjoy that. So I didn't even touch first person.
Yeah.
Call of Duty was first person because third person was only a little mode and it was shit.
I didn't even know, to be honest, I didn't even know there was third person.
It was in Call of Duty 4 mainly. Third person, free fall was called.
Yeah.
So honest, I prefer my third person. I don't know why. It's just something I prefer over first person.
No, yeah, it's just your opinion. Like, for me personally, I'm a first person guy. In the games where I've had the option to be in first or third, I prefer to go in first all the time. And I don't know, I think if GTA and Mafia 2 and games like that had an option to go in first person, I'd go in first person then. I just like being in the shoes of my character. Like, you feel like you're them. And that's how I like to play my games. It's difference of opinion, but I prefer it if there was an option, and I don't think it will happen in this. But it would be cool to kind of see if it was in there to kind of get testing first person. But I think this game suits third person more than first, because a lot of the combat is kind of more surrounding Geralt. He kind of has this kind of like surround sense amongst him, so he kind of like knows what's around him. When you don't really get that in first person. If you got that, you get that big time in third. And we've seen in the combat in that 35-minute video. It's on your screen now when he's fighting the wolves. The wolves are around him, and you'd suffer from that if you was in first person. So personally, I wouldn't be rallying a call for first person in this game. But George, do you think there will be a first person update after launch?
It depends if the demand is there. If there's like a shit ton of people, I mean thousands and thousands of people going, I want my first person, they'll just do it due to keep people happy. But if it's only a few people, like it's only a few people doing it, so I'm not really that bothered. So
yeah, like personally for me, like the way I'm going to steal this idea from Joystick, because they said that the Red Engine did not support, has not supported the first person in the first and second Witcher, and they think that it's not going to be any priority of theirs to be making it. And these articles come out 2 or 3 days ago, and I looked at the Reddit, and I've only saw like 1 or 2 posts in like 5 or 6 pages about first person, so I don't think there is that big of a demand for it. I think the demand for it is very minimal. I don't think people are going to be rallying for it because, like you said yourself, George, it doesn't suit the game. And yeah, I won't be crying in my sleep if it's not there, even though I prefer first person. Because, like you said, George, you got it right on the ball. It's got to suit the type of game. So, should we go on to a new segment, which is going to be basic lore. and the crowd goes wild.
And we've stated this before. It's basic, like fucking basic though.
I in the show notes that we've got, I put under basic lore. By basic, we mean basic. Like this is for the people like who are just kind of getting introduced to the series. Maybe play Witcher 1 and 2 and don't know a hell of a lot about the characters. We're just kind of giving a bit more background info about some characters that you're going to be seeing, some stories that we get announced maybe in the week, and we'll kind of cover it. But again, like George said at the beginning of the episode, do you want to go ahead, George, and talk about it?
Like we said, we do want to change from basic lore to full on, like kind of lore segment. It's what some people have requested in the Reddit, and me and Connor are not able to fulfill that by ourselves. So we would like to have someone onto our Witcher videos. Like we said, we'll give benefits, we'll shout you out, and everything else. Just apply to us if you want to know, and we'll probably get you onto we'll probably record a segment just us three at a different time, and then we'll edit that in separately apart from the episode, or something like that. And if it goes well, if people enjoy, you never know, you might join along for the whole flipping episode if people like you and request you too much. So it's really depending on how you want to do it, and if you know a lot about the game, we want solid proof that you know enough, and so on.
Yeah,
just
and
dagortv@gmail.com if you want to interested.
Yeah, or just reply to a wiki post,
Reddit
post, or comment, or tweet us, or comment on Facebook or anything. And even if you don't want to be on the show, if you don't want your voice heard, if you don't like have the time to do it, and you just want to kind of whip up like a page or something about a character, send it in and we'll read it out, and we'll give you the credit all the way.
100%. Yeah. We will take no credit, and we won't even pretend to.
Yeah. So we're gonna go into the cutscene that kind of revealed like last week. There was a couple of things that we were kind of unsure of, weren't we, George? Kind of like a couple of things in there, and we first found the first thing that I kind of found was, do you know, in the field after the battle? Do you know after the battle?
Yeah.
When it's the guy with the horse and another young guy at the back. That was Geralt, who was the guy at the back, and that was Geralt's mentor, who was looking at everything, who was with him. And that, I thought, because we was wondering who they were, because they didn't really look like Geralt, and it was Geralt's mentor. It kind of looks like a bit like his dad in my eyes, to be honest. And the woman, do you know, in the battle who was following, is a woman called Yennefer Vengerberg, and Yennefer was a member of the Council of the Sorceresses, and is in love with Geralt, and she is actually 94 years of age when it comes down to the Witcher 3 events. And she is a blood-run race and is quarter elven blood, so she's kind of got a mixed races kind of going on with her. And she's a good friend of Triss, who is kind of like who was the other woman in these two women that we've heard a lot about pre-release of the game. So there's Triss and Yennefer, kind of these two women. Do you know, we brought it up before, George, that people were saying there's going to be two women coming into this game, that it kind of pivotal in the stories, and they're the two. And if there's two women and one bloke, can I hear a threesome going down? Yeah. Like, we've seen a lot of sex scenes in The Witcher 1 and 2. Like, there's one in The Witcher 2. I cannot remember the woman's name. I cannot remember. It began with an S. And there was like, it was like a 5-minute sex scene. It was pretty weird to watch. If my dad walked in at that moment, he'd be like, "What the fuck you playing, man?" Yeah. So, yeah, that's the basic lore segment. That was basic. It's just gonna be for now. It's gonna be a 1 to 2 minute thing. There, it was 1 minute 40 seconds. To kind of just to give a bit of background, because we don't at this stage we don't want to kind of be blabbering on stuff that we don't really know yet. To be honest, so it was just like a basic thing for now, and hopefully it will become detailed in time. So, should we go into the questions, George?
For questions, we've got quite a long one. A very long one. Oh, and it's from XXNVOR23GX.
No, wherever you know, you're in the wrong bloody date.
I'm right down. Sorry, I'm about that. I went scrolled up quite far. We don't have a long one. Succubus, now that you're covering game and have more fans of the series, do you want to read the books? Connor, do you want to read the books?
I am. I do actually, and I actually saw this question to see the prices of the books that I could get, and there's in English. There is English copies out there. The third one, the third Witcher book, which is Geralt's story, come out. The English copy come out earlier this year, like, so I could read them, and I'm interested in reading them, like, so yeah, it's made me more interested in the series, like, because I didn't even play the first 2 games before we started the series. I kind of blitzed through the first 2 because I love them, and yeah, I'm desperate to play this game, and yeah, I want to kind of get more into the lore, and it's something that I can kind of carry on after the third Witcher game. What about you, George? Do you think? Does it make you want to read the books?
It makes me want to think I can get into books, but I've got a whole fucking list of books I need to read anyway, as it is. And with me on books, I've got to be in a very particular mood to pick up a book, and then I won't stop for like 8 hours to stop reading my book. And that's how I read books. And I've got all the Lord of the Rings to read, I've got The Hobbit to read, and so many books. So I probably want to read. I do want to read them, but it'll just probably be in a few months' time.
Yeah, for me it will be like shortly after Christmas or something like that. For me, that's when it will be, because like now it's going to be financially hard because I like buying stuff for Christmas and things like that. But yeah, I'm definitely interested in reading the books, because I'm kind of running dry on things to read now, because I'm nearly finished with Game of Thrones books. So yeah, should we go to the next question?
Glowing the Grey. Good old Glowing the Grey. Did he ask
Can we just take a moment's applause?
We always go about how good Glowing the Grey is.
Yeah.
Because he is. Let's talk about mounts. Do you want it to be just horse combat, or do you want it to take more of an adventurous route, like mountain tigers or eagles or something? Just something to be different from other games. And with Geralt being a monster hunter, I don't see how this cannot be the case. I just when he said eagles, I just smashed into fucking like Geralt, like tucked in like a mini motorbikes.
Yeah.
Imagine Geralt just tucked in on the ground, and this like eagle like struggling to fucking fly with his wings going like struggling like fuck this.
I just imagine, my mind, when I first saw this question, my mind just jumped, to Lord of the Rings. And when he's jumping on the eagles and things like that. God, that'd be cool, wouldn't it? Just to fly around the world, but I don't see it happening at all, to be honest with you. It would be cool to mount more things, like, I don't know, like, I don't know, maybe bears? That could maybe be done.
Could
like,
be.
I'm thinking Narnia at the moment, to be honest with you. It'd be good to like, have some extra things, but I can definitely see them being land-based. Like, yeah, horses, or maybe like large wolves or something like that, if there was going to be taking more of a different route. But I'm still happy with horses. But it would just be a cool feature if they was going to have extra things. And yeah, George, what do you think on this matter?
More of a merry with these kind of situations. But is it only been horses previous 2 games?
Yeah, and
well,
like,
this is multiplayer.
Yeah, this is so, like, before you kind of like when you started the quest, you'd have a horse with you. You never like went out to buy a horse, like, so.
We've seen there's horses before as well. We know there's horses in this game because Geralt's on them commonly.
Yeah.
Like one of the 35-minute gameplay is on one, so.
Yeah. So, yeah, the horses will be in there, but like, I don't know. I can maybe see them being maybe like a quest in it or something like that. I don't know. Maybe like a griffin. Maybe say like, I don't know. He's fighting a griffin and it takes him up in the air or something like that, and he's flying that for a little bit. But that's the only way I'd be able to see a flying system being there. But yeah, mounted combat, I'd love there to be mounted combat. I like mounted combat, even though the best game that's done it is Shadow of Mordor. When you're on the Caragors, it's just fun. Mounted combat makes you feel like you're a master of the Rohirrim. So yeah, that's kind of that question. Move to the next one.
It's from Arcania. How do you feel about the fast traveling system? I know you touched upon it a few weeks ago, but to go into more detail, do you think it would be better to quest in the area instead of just reach the location? Wonder what your opinions are.
Yeah, so she's kind of asking whether to, before being able to fast travel to that location, you'd have to quest in that area before fast traveling. What do you think, George, on that? Before I answer.
Well, so you have to complete the area then to move on.
No, I'm not sure what she mean. Well, I think she says quest in the area, so I'm saying I think she must mean maybe like a
Oh
couple,
yeah,
maybe
so
like a couple of quests.
you don't move on to a large area.
No, it's like you do like maybe say like you could just run to a city and then you get to that city and you got to do a couple of quests there before you can fast travel back there, instead of just going there.
I think it means that I think it means some quests where you do quests and then you fast travel to the other part of the world.
Yeah.
I think that's what it means, and it's a hard question because we don't know what you mean to a certain extent.
We'll talk about both methods, but like I don't know. She said it's better to quest in the area instead of just reaching the location. So I think it must be me in questing that area before unlocking it, because it's like we know it's good. You reach a signpost, you activate the signpost, then you can fast travel there. But she must mean like you have to do like a couple of quests there then to be able to activate the signpost or something. We'll go with that, shall we?
I don't think it means that though.
I think it does. The way she's worded it, it gives me that impression.
Do you think you could better question there and just reach the location? I don't know.
What do you think would be better, to be able to question the area to activate fast traveling there, or just to go up to it and
activate it, or you just walk in the area then activate it, because that's the best way to, in my opinion. Because sometimes you might it's just beneficial. Like you walk into say you're going south, but you need to go. You started off south, but you go north, but then it's been told to go east. And if you don't quest halfway through, you might best you'll just go fast travel to this place I went past halfway through, then go back, then travel east. And if you want to do that, I think that'd be pretty shitty.
Yeah, I think the way they've got it is the best way to do it, in my opinion. I think it's a good way, because it's a signpost system. Like you can't just fast travel from place to place. You are getting put in an area where you still have to move a bit, if you will, to a different area. And I think it's a good way. Good way. Last question.
Do you think the world is too large?
And who was that question by?
It's by Mersontaine.
Paul Mersontaine. Yeah. It's kind of hard to answer this question because
you don't know how dense it is. If the world's too, I know what it means. It can be too large, and if there's not enough things going on, it can seem very boring. Yeah. Like, so, to a certain extent, it's better having a smaller world if it's more dense.
Yeah. Like Skyrim, like that world. If you just go based on size, like there's bigger worlds out there, but because it's so dense, it makes the world feel large. I think that's the way to do it. And they've got to go that same method. It's no good just making a big world and with not a lot going on in places. Elder Scrolls Online suffered from that fact. Like it was just like cardboard scenery. If you've got things to run around and like find different things to do in close by, to be able to go out everywhere and find adventure, that's when this game will succeed. And it needs to be compact and dense, and that's the way to do it. And we agree on that situation, George.
Definitely.
Yeah. So I think we've come to the end of the episode.
So yeah, pretty much. So people don't forget to email us if you are if you are interested in a job of becoming a law master per se. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe.
Follow us on Twitter.
And like us on Facebook.
Yeah, and also subscribe to John the Fellow DeGorans. Goodbye.